Anyway, Chapter 6. The truth is revealed! D.
Ian, this is it. The final chapter in which all your questions will be explained at last. Why is Kasumi such a weirdo? Why is the world itself so utterly nuts? What do the books want with Kasumi's father? Why is this listed as a My Little Pony fanfic when there are so many other references in this story that have gotten so much more screen time? Why are there sentient evil books in the first place? Okay, so that last one isn't really answered. I just thought, what would be a really random thing to put as the bad guy of the story? And the answer I came up with was sentient books. Well, anyway, epic conclusion time.
Okay. Just cracking my back before I get started on this last one.
I'm impressed you managed to get around all of our ingenious traps, the book said. I thought for sure using your father's magic would allow us to stop you long ago.
Well, you forgot to account for one thing, Kasumi said. Me, Kyoshi, and Steve were all guided by the power of stuff that starts with the letter B. Today's episode brought to you by the letter B.
What?
Kasumi and the book leader were dramatically circling each other, while Kasumi's dad was hanging unconscious, hooked up to the book's evil magic draining device. Kasumi explained, Well, we all had our brains and bravery. I had my bag, Kyoshi had his bow, Steve had his blade of diamonds. But there is one much more important bee that I have not even dared to speak out loud, because you might catch on and do something about it if I did. But by now, I don't see how it can hurt me, so... Kasumi ranted like a painfully non-genre savvy villain, even though she's the hero of the story. The book was immediately preparing to think of a way to use this unknown element against her. The final B is... My buns with my father! Kasumi said, Kasumi dramatically finished. Oh my, what? What?
I take it you just saw who her dad is.
Suddenly everything makes so much sense!
Well, that was the whole idea. I wanted to write a story that seemed to make absolutely no sense, then there was a reveal at the end that suddenly explains everything.
She's the daughter of a chaos god! That makes perfect sense!
What? But Mayor Discord has been chained up to my magic draining device the whole time. How could he have helped you in any way?
Clever planning mostly. I mean, he did give me the bag that holds everything. And I'm pretty sure the random shit wasn't your idea, Kasumi said.
Random shit? So that's what happened to the massive army of evil dudes we had planted under the mountain. We had planned for them to ambush and brutally murder all of you while you were under the effect of our anti-everything spell. The book exposited.
Incidentally,
Exposition, launch it out ASAP.
Incidentally, originally the anti-everything spell was actually mentioned in chapter 2, but I figured that was just explaining stuff too clearly, too early.
Well, I mean, I knew that while they were under the mountain, they couldn't use her everything bag.
But yeah, there is a lot of exposition in this chapter.
Yeah, well, you probably should have used that anti-everything spell on this castle instead, Kasumi said.
Oh, but we have. Haven't you noticed how you couldn't pull Discord out of your bag that holds everything? That was because we had placed an anti-everything spell on him. The book exposited some more.
Yeah, I figured as much. Still though, by leaving the rest of the castle unguarded, you have left yourself wide open for my secret ultimate weapon, Kasumi said.
secret ultimate weapon? Oh, please. I can see that you're not carrying anything. I can clearly see that you're not carrying anything.
The book said. Also, I don't know why he sounds like Fat Dumbledore.
Well, I don't know either.
Hang on a second, Kasumi said, and jumped out the window, back down to the third-floor balcony where Kiyoshi and Steve were still hanging out. Hey, Kiyoshi, mind if I borrow your stair? She asked.
Suit yourself. You're the one insisting that only you are allowed to use your own character text,
Kiyoshi said. Thanks, Kasumi said, before jetpacking her way back up to the 7th floor again and giving the book an "Are you funny ducking kidding me?" look. Did you just forget, while formulating that sentence, that we were discussing my bag that holds everything? Of course I have a secret ultimate weapon in my bag, Kasumi said. Then the book leader stole Kasumi's bag. Oh no! Now I can't use my secret ultimate weapon! Kasumi screamed uber loudly as the book laughed.
Indeed. What's more, now I can do this,
the book said, and pulled out a potion that would make him 10 times bigger and more powerful and agile and so on and so forth. And only then did Kasumi notice exactly who it was she was up against. No! You can't be! She said in horror as the book took off his completely gray and nondescript dust cover, which had so far concealed his true identity.
Indeed, it is I, the complete dictionary of everything ever. Fear my massive page count and weight,
the dictionary said as he drank the potion and became 10 times bigger and more powerful and more agile and so on and so forth. Oh, and it also gave him arms and legs. So that was also kind of inconvenient for Kasumi. He was holding on tight to Kasumi's bag still. How was he holding on to it before if he didn't have arms and legs?
Oh, look, a distraction.
Oh, a distraction? Cool. So then she ran over to the window she had jumped in and out of several times by now and called to Kiyoshi and Steve. Hey guys, this douchebag just stole my book! Could you lend me your weapons?
He stole her bag, not her book.
Oh. Hey guys, this douchebag book just stole my bag! Could you lend me your weapons?
Okay,
said Steve, and threw his diamond sword straight at Kasumi, failing to account for the fact that this could very easily lead to her becoming severely injured or possibly dead. Thankfully, his aim was terrible, so the sword flew right past her and somehow went into the throne room, flew through the air, and stabbed the dictionary in the little toe.
I suppose in one way that could count as being excellent aim, though, but...
Kiyoshi, on the other hand, took a more careful and calculated approach to lending Kasumi his weapon. He fired arrows at the wall again, making another stairway of arrows, before running up to the 7th floor and just handing his bow and remaining arrows, he'd brought a lot of arrows, to her. Thanks again, Kasumi said, before then running over to the dictionary, who was still freaking out over the pain in his toe, and pulled the diamond sword out of said toe. She then prepared to fight by dual-wielding weapons, with a diamond sword in one hand and Kiyoshi's bow in the other. What's she gonna pull the string with, her teeth? Sadly, she failed to account for the fact that she needed both hands to use the bow, so that was kind of a stupid idea. The dictionary then proceeded to smack her into the wall.
Ha ha ha! Behold my amazing power that I stole from Discord,
the dictionary said as he flipped through his pages till he reached the entry on the ring wraiths from the Lord of the Rings and had them all materialize in the throne room. Kasumi, however, was unimpressed. You already did this when we were in the Minecraft world, remember?
Yeah, and when I last checked, you were powerless in that situation,
the dictionary said. Point, Kasumi said, and started running around screaming with the 9 ring wraiths chasing her. Thankfully, they seemed to have a distinctly one-track mind when it came to this sort of thing, because really, with 9 of them and 1 of her, it would have been very easy for them to cut her off. But no, all of them stayed behind her and tried to catch up to her that way. And Kasumi was running stupidly fast. Wait, this isn't really getting us anywhere, is it? Kasumi said, and then she checked the diamond sword a bit more carefully and found that it had the Smite enchant on it, which would probably make it very effective against ring wraiths. So she stopped and turned around to face them. Surrender the ring, the Witch King said. I don't really have any rings. I have a necklace, though. It's really pretty. Do you want it? Kasumi said, distracting the Witch King's attention with a plan devised through flawless logic, trademark, giving her the chance to walk up to him and stab him to death. Or whatever you call it when an undead being is destroyed. Well, he was admiring the pretty necklace she had pointed out that she had. The rest of the ring wraiths then freaked out because their leader was dead or something, and so they all committed seppuku, and also died or something along those lines. Right, now that I have defeated your ring wraiths, give me back my bag, Kasumi demanded.
No, why would I do that?
The dictionary said as he summoned a nonillion orcs.
Incidentally, the dictionary was originally supposed to be the Lord of the Rings, which is why he is only fighting with Lord of the Rings monsters. But then I figured that didn't make any sense with that part in the first chapter where he flipped over to a page with a picture of a basilisk, so yeah.
He could be the fantasy encyclopedia.
Yeah, I suppose.
See, why couldn't you just have demanded $100 nonillion in exchange for that instead? At least that's actually a number. I couldn't pay the ransom of $100 zillion because what even is that anyway? Kasumi said. The dictionary gave her an
Are you funny ducking kidding me?
look before saying,
I never intended to free Discord anyway, which is why I made a demand even you couldn't beat.
Gasp! Kasumi said. You diabolical! She clenched her fists. Dishonest! She bitch-slapped 1 octillion orcs to death in one simple motion. Really bad at your job! She trampled the floor so hard that it started to crumble, and yet another octillion orcs fell to their deaths because the floor beneath them gave way. Cowardly! She threw Steve's diamond sword off in a random direction and it impaled 1 octillion more orcs. Completely illogical! Another 2 octillion orcs' brains exploded from the sheer hypocrisy of the completely insane daughter of Discord calling someone illogical. Cheap shot of a... She jumped into the air and fired arrows at another 2 octillion orcs using her feet instead of her arms for no apparent reason. Surprisingly generic! 2 octillion more orcs just spontaneously died. Little! 1 septillion, 999 sextillion, 999 quintillion, 999 quadrillion, 999 trillion, 999 billion, 999 million, 999,000, 999 orcs just plain ran away scared, and now there was only 1 left.
Sorry for that long number, by the way, but oh my god, I'm actually impressed you got through that so easily.
You're talking to the girl that did This Forest is Danger and died when Pony's Undead, and some didn't die, but they died, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Douchebag! She yelled louder than she had ever yelled anything before, and the 1 remaining orc went deaf, but charged at her anyway. Kasumi, too, charged towards the dictionary, punching the last remaining orc straight into the evil magic-stealing machine her father was connected to, causing it to explode and also waking Mayor Discord up from his unconscious state. She continued running forward, leapt up and punched the dictionary so hard in the face that his fancy hardcover, made fancier than ever due to the magic potion, cracked and broke, and then the effect of the potion wore off, and now he was just regular the dictionary again. Kasumi then took her bag right back and stepped back to get ready to use her secret, ultimate weapon. Ha 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 ha!
No, that's the dictionary.
Yeah, I caught that.
Ho 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 ho! think that was all it took to defeat me?
The dictionary said, as suddenly the wall behind him opened, and out of it, 10 nonillion books came rushing, all armed to the spine, with guns and swords and lightsabers and shurikens and rubber bands. Kasumi smirked. Well, no, but I do think that you are all pretty much screwed now, she said, as she pulled out her secret ultimate weapon. All the books stared in shock and despair as they saw what Kasumi's weapon was, and they all said their prayers, realizing that they were now well and truly screwed. Yes, for in Kasumi's arms, at this very moment, she was holding a preposterously massive flamethrower. Dad! Kasumi shouted. Oh, how do I Delancey? It's supposed I could always just do the Q voice. Yes, dear? Discord said. You might want to get out of the way, Kasumi said. Of course, Discord said, and teleported behind Kasumi, where he conjured up a comfy chair, a box of popcorn, and some soda. This is going to be good, he said. Kasumi then pulled the trigger on her preposterously massive flamethrower, engulfing the entire throne room in fire, except for the spot where she and Discord were. Discord used his reality warping powers to make that one part of the room pleasantly cool instead. And so the books were all screaming in pain as they died horribly in the biggest book burning in the history of the world.
Author's note, I really do not have anything against books, honestly.
Thanks for the help, Kasumi, dear, Discord said. Yeah, and thanks for the bag that holds everything, Dad. It really came in handy, Kasumi said, and they hugged. Oh, you know, I had figured this would happen sooner or later, Discord said. Fair enough, Kasumi said. Then they exited what was formerly the book's castle, except that the book burning had melted the entire thing, and now there was just one giant pile of molten rocks, and Steve had died again, but it was okay, because his bed next to the castle was unharmed, so he just respawned, and then he went home. Kiyoshi had narrowly escaped death, with only severe injuries, and was... with only severe... I actually want to say that differently. Kiyoshi had narrowly escaped death, with only severe injuries, and was sitting on the concert stage. Where Calafina had provided musical accompaniment earlier, but now they had gone home. Oh, hi, Kiyoshi. Looking kind of terrible there, huh? Here, have a Band-Aid, Kasumi said, and threw him a Band-Aid. And then he went home. Huh, what an ungrateful douchebag, Kasumi said, and then they went home.
And yes, that was a very abrupt ending, wasn't it?
No, but it was wonderful. Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. Not quite as random as the ending of Legolas by Laura, but that story was kind of unfulfilling in my opinion. I mean, after that fantastic build-up to what could have been a massive reveal, the author just goes with them to Laura. I mean, come on. Also, I'm finished with my breakfast.
Excellent. Whereas I just figured along the way that, you know, it would be funny to just end the story on the most abrupt, random note ever, so, yeah.
And then they went home.
Yep, and notice there are like 5 sentences in direct succession that end with, and then they went home.
Yes, I noticed.
Although, in hindsight, I almost feel like I should have just, just had it end with that right after the book burning. Just the author's note, and then they went home.
Well, yes, but then we couldn't have had her throw a Band-Aid at the only severely injured Kiyoshi.
Indeed.
I almost called him Kosuke. I have way too many characters whose names start with K. I mean, I kept feeling I needed to call Kasumi Katsumi, because I have a character who is named Katsumi, and I kept wanting to call Kiyoshi, which you'd think I'd be good at that name considering I'm an Avatar fan, Kosuke. For some reason. Probably because Kosuke is another male character that gets dragged around by 2 crazy women. Except actually the women are probably more sane than Kosuke is. Kosuke is kind of a show-off, and the only reason why he managed to graduate from ninja school is because he's a genius.
I should randomly note another bit of trivia though. Kiyoshi was originally called something else, but I changed his name because it was just too similar to Kasumi at first. At first his name was Kazuma, so I then figured, no, that's too similar, it gets too confusing, so I changed his name.
Well, I enjoyed Kiroshi's character, and Kasumi's character, and Steve's character.
Well, that's good to know.
Now, I think I'm going to finish this and send it to you, and then go finish reading the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series.
Okay.